What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Mark here with Reaper Airsoft. Today we're going to take a quick look at the HK UMP 45. This is the Elite version. This is not the competition model. So the Elite version is the upgraded addition to Elite Force's line. Now this has been out for a little bit. I haven't really had a chance to take them apart, look into them. I don't think I'm going to do that today. I haven't, like I said, I haven't really had a chance to mess with them, so I just want to go over it real quick. This is a customer's. We did some modifications, and as you can tell right up front here, we have a 14mm negative suppressor flash hider. I don't know what you want to call them because it's a little bit tricky around the ATF, which you refer to these as. But on the Elite model, typically they don't come with a threaded piece. What we did is we installed, I believe it is an SHS PPSH thread adapter. It goes from a 13mm positive inside to a 14mm negative outside. The UMP Elite comes stock with an orange tip here, and it actually threads into the barrel, so it's not too hard to break that tip out, you know, to put the threading on here. That way you can run the flash hider or the suppressor or whatever you want. They also have the gas blowback variation, which I believe is OEM by VFC. You can't do that on the gas blowback variation. This one I want to say is done by Aries. I'm pretty sure it's done by Aries. I can always check in later on with Elite Force Eric to make sure, but I want to say it's done by Aries. Now this gun is definitely a step in the right direction compared to the entry-level one that we've had that's been out for a little while now. Not knocking the entry-level one, but when it comes to UMPs and you want something nice, this UMP definitely brings the game to the table. Overall quality of the build, the polymer is definitely a step up in the right direction. It's a strong polymer. It's got some weight to it. It has some strength to it. You can definitely feel stock's open. There's no wobble. Even with the collapsible stock down and it locked into place, you know, there's really nothing too major there. It's solid. You can't really pop it off. It's not just going to fall off. It's a high-grade polymer. Really strong stuff. A couple of the features that they integrated into this one compared to the competition level is it has a functional charging handle. So when you pull the charging handle back and lock it in place, the dust cover does open up and you can't release it. And a lot of you guys will do the HK slaps with them. I don't think it's going to hurt the gun, but you don't want to do it excessively. You don't want to sit there and repeatedly do it. It's a nice feature just to have that option. Under the dust cover is your hop-up adjustment. The dust cover also has, as you can see, it's highlighted. The HK is highlighted in white. Competition levels don't feature that. You know, it's a nice little accent that we ourselves sometimes throw on some of the competition level guns just to make them stand out a little bit more. This is blowback. As I said, it does give you that nice little ting, ting, ting. It's got a nice little kick to it. You can disable it. I'll go over that here. I think I'm going to crack the gun apart. We'll take the lower off and we'll show you the gearbox upper and everything just to give you an idea. Some of the features include fixed rear and front sight. This is adjustable. The rear sight is adjustable. But you also get a half and upper rail system. That way you can put any sight you want on there. You know, sight's your preference. For me, the EOTechs actually look pretty pimp on the top of the UMP 45s. I like that look. You get rail system up front on both sides and the bottom. That way you can put a foregrip, any lasers, flashlights like you like any stuff like that. You have sling point up front, both sides, and in the back you have one on the side. Most of it's set up to be ambidextrous. Sorry about that, my phone's over here in the corner. Most of this is set up to be ambidextrous. Selector switch is on the right and left hand side. Unfortunately, the charging handle you can't throw to the opposite side. And with the stock collapsed, it does get in the way of the right hand selector. You can't really access it too well. It's definitely a pain in the butt to hold it and try and use that switch. You're definitely restricted to the left hand side. It has a non-functioning bolt catch, and then your mag release is always on the bottom. What I do like about the mag releases of the HK UMP 45s is with the mag in, everything is normally just a finger away. That way you can multitask. You can do it with both hands to make it faster instead of one hand. If you don't want to use both hands, you can use the one hand, grab it, pull out, no issue. It gives you a little bit of freedom. It's not really too far out. It's not overly exaggerated on the gun either. It's kind of low profile, so that way you're not hitting it off of anything when you're playing. Battery goes in the back. This is definitely a step up in the right direction from the competition model because we got a beefy back door. The competition model had a flimsier back door which would break off occasionally. This has a beefy back door that's held in by like a ball bearing detent that actually holds it in place pretty decent. You have small Tamiya wirings, and this is going to take a 9.6 volt stick is what's recommended. You know, that's the basics overall for the gun. I want to say feet per second wise is about 360 feet per second. The gun itself weighs just under 6 pounds. You know, so it's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's just right in your hands. Even when you shoulder it, it definitely gives you something. You know, you know you're holding it. It's not too light. You definitely can feel it in your hands, which feels great. You know, it's comfortable. Some of the other trades that they got going on: Cal 6mm, serial number on a left-hand side of the body, recessed UMP, and all the warning stuff. I'm not a big fan of all the warnings into the main body. I would prefer a sticker. That way we can remove it later on. But I can understand what they're going for the younger crowd. It's a give and take, guys. I really hate to say it, with a lot of stupid players in Airsoft, unfortunately we have to give up some of our rights. That way they don't take the guns away completely. So if they have to put the warning on the body and engrave it in there, then so be it. At least we still have the equipment. Now I'm going to see if I can push out this back pin here, and we're going to see if we can take a look at inside. So I'm going to grab one of my T-handle Allen keys, is which would I prefer to push out these pins with. Popped it. Let me see if I got needle nose to grab this pin. Now I've noticed on this model the pins are actually kind of tight. They're actually extremely tight, which surprises me. I don't want to pull that pin out, strip it. So let me see if I can find one of my other T-handles, and we'll see if we can pop that through a little bit further. There we go. So, got the rear pin out. The reason they're so tight is, you see this right here, this is spring steel. It actually clips into place on the other side, so it gives you an extremely tight grab, so it doesn't just fall out on you. I know some of you guys know what it's like to lose one of these things. It's a pain in the butt if you lose them trying to find them. It's extremely hard to do in most cases just because it's a body pin. But fear not, it's not going to come out on its own. It's definitely not going to rattle out on its own. To remove the lower, you pull out the rear body pin. Up front, you can see there's sort of a pin. This is actually built into the lower body. You don't have to remove this. It's actually a hinge system. So if you hinge it up, just hinge it up, you can take it right off and then slide the back. Just slide it back and off the little hooks. I know you guys can see that. Right off the hooks. Yeah, like I said, this is an Aries setup. This is sort of like what's in their TAR setup too. This piece, this mechanism right here is what functions your blowback, and which is nice. It's accessible without removing your gearbox or disassembling your gearbox. You unscrew this rear pin, take out the little washer O-ring setup combination that they got going on. You can slide this plate all the way out in the back, and it disables your blowback function without disabling your warranty. It also features a quick turning spring guide. If you take flathead, which you might as well do it now, give you guys an idea of actually what it takes. Flathead to unscrew this. Pop that out of there. This flathead screw right here keeps the spring guide tight against the rear of the gearbox. That way it doesn't come flying out. Where's my big T-handle? And then the spring itself, when you push in on the spring, you turn the spring guide 90 degrees. It has two tabs that lock in. Up and down releases it. Left and right keeps it locked in place. You can pull it out, throw a new spring on, slip it right back into your system, and you go. Which is nice, is because if you're going to go from outdoor to indoor, indoor to outdoor, an event, something where they're requiring stricter feet per second rolls, and you're above feet per second limits, you're not going to void your warranty swapping out the spring, because you don't have to take the damn thing out. You can literally do this in 5 minutes. Most of the guys that run these keep a spare Allen key and a flathead in their bag and a spare spring. That way they can go, alright, indoor feet per second, I've got one that's shooting 350. Outdoor feet per second, I got one that's shooting 400 or so. Overall, like I said, it is an Aries design. The gearbox is extremely beefy up front. I don't know if you guys can tell that from the footage, but this thing is, they're beefed up pretty nice. The only downfall to this gearbox is that a lot of the stuff they tend to run in an Aries setup is proprietary. I'm not sure if this has the micro switch trigger system in it. If it does, which is most likely at this point because this isn't the MOSFET version. If you wanted to mod the trigger, if you wanted to put a new trigger assembly in there, you can. you're stuck with the stock setup or a replacement OEM setup. Not saying it's bad performance, but you're restricted a little bit to the modifications. The G36s that they actually released, I did a review before, they have a computer control system on the side, and it got rid of the cutoff lever, it got rid of a lot of the stuff, and introduced magnetic sensors. That way you don't have the trigger assembly in there, you don't fry the contacts, you don't have any of those issues. Selector switch, everything in these are pretty beefed up. They're geared to take a beating and keep on going. Umarex and Elite Force are putting a lot of work into making sure their guns are pretty good, built pretty solid. Like I said, I'm not going to pull this all apart today. I may do it in a later video. I'll do a complete breakdown of the gearbox. But just wanted to give you guys a little preview of what's actually in these things and what makes them so good. I've messed with the gas blowback one too. That thing kicks like a mule. Hopefully I can get the gas blowback one in here again. That way I can do a review of that thing, because that actually surprised me when I shot it. It definitely kicks hard. Reinstallation of the lower. I like to hinge it into place. Make sure your wires are up into your system. And when I do this, you need to make sure your little notch here for your blowback is all the way forward in a forward position. Take your charging handle, pull your charging handle all the way back. That way your dust cover slides all the way back. Everything should drop down pretty fluid, pretty easily. I'm trying to do this backwards, so it's throwing me off a little bit. It drops right back into place. You can throw your body pin right back into the system, press it over. Like I said, it's tight. You guys hear how it clicks in? That's how you know it's not coming out. Overall, I'd give this gun probably an 8 out of 10. Like I said, there is a couple things that really kill me, and that's the engraved piece. It was nice to find out that the flash hider, the orange tip, actually removed, so you can mess with it a little bit, do some customizations to it. The mag itself's nice. It's got a little bit of a dress up. It looks like you have the brass shells in there. I'm gonna cancel that. Apologize for that, guys. I should have had the phone on silent before I started, but it is what it is. Flip up, fill your BBs up. Winding wheel on the bottom, nothing special. You guys seen the mags. That's about it, guys. If you could like, share, comment, subscribe, I'd appreciate it. You guys have a good day, and make sure you call your hits.